Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our Captain of Industry series. We've got big plans today. Starting off with, our maintenance is still sitting lower than where I'd like it to be. It hovers around 90%. And I think the reason for that is the fact that, well, we have 38 trucks, 2 tree harvesters, and 7 excavators. They each require maintenance, and so do a lot of our buildings. So, searching through our wonderful research tree, I found Maintenance Depot 2. The Maintenance Depot 2 is able to produce 480 maintenance every 60 seconds, still requiring mechanical parts and electronics. This guy can only do 220 every 60 seconds, so we'll be able to double our output, which I think is exactly what we want. The upgrade will cost us 30 construction parts too, and 20 electronics, which we're doing fine on at the moment. When looking at the shorefront, you will see that I did get rid of the cargo ship. I'll end up putting it back here in a little bit, but for right now, it's not a big deal. We still have 46,000 barrels of oil in this one spot here. And looking around, there's still some more. Yeah, you can see one right there off in the distance. And if I spin more, I think there's some on that island over there. There it is, yes. So our island has oil for a little while, but by removing that port, it'll help me get the seaport all flat and straight. Eventually, I'm going to have to remove this shipyard too. I think I'm going to put it over here and then start doing the cargo ships over on this side. It's going to be a long time though, especially considering we're on still tiny little pickup trucks and tiny excavators. But somewhere on the research tree, yes, here they are. We'll be getting access to regular trucks, excavators, and large tree harvesters, the fuel station 2, or sorting plant large, and a vehicle depot 2. These are all the delicious goodies I want. In order to do this, though, we have to go through construction 3, steel smelting. That's not too bad. What does steel smelting give us? Well, obviously, the ability to make steel. That seems like it'll be important one day. Who knows what we'll need to do that, but I'm guessing that's because these vehicles take steel, yeah. But I tell you what, we'll just add that to the queue and we are on our way. Now, the great thing about the way we've designed most of our research and automation is, yeah, we have the assembler making all of the lab equipment, but then it goes directly into a unit storage building. So right now, we're still sitting at 200 lab equipment ready to go into the research labs. This is sort of the buffer that allows us to spin up and spin down on different projects without worrying about throughput too much. How's that next level maintenance building doing? Ooh la la. Not shabby. You can see that it looks like our maintenance is hovering around a requirement of 100 to 110 every 60 seconds. And by highlighting over this button, you can see that the total island maintenance required, if I'm reading this correctly, is 2880, and the current maintenance level is sitting around 2750. And that could just be the transport time it takes something that needs maintenance to get back here. Not 100% sure, but the number seems to be going up, so I'll keep an eye on that. The next thing I wanted to do is upgrade our farm situation, and I probably should have done that before I queued the large vehicles. So I'm going to pause that and then head down here. Where are you? Oh, I had already gotten it offline. Irrigated farms and crop rotation. We might as well also get into vegetables because there's some key lessons we need to take into account for crop rotation. And then after that, we will then queue back up large vehicles. Easy peasy. When you click on a farm, once you have crop rotation unlocked, you can see you can add a crop to the schedule. In this case, the only thing we have is the ability to make some manure. Don't know how we make that because I don't have any animals around here. Oh, I really hope it's not that type of manure. But you could also just leave it empty for the soil to naturally replenish itself. This all has to do with the soil fertility. The more fertile the soil, the more crops you're going to get. We also are reliant on the rain right now because we have the old school farms. We can now upgrade them with more construction parts too and electronics to get irrigated farms, which I think we want to do. I am going to do both of these, even though I'm not quite sure how many we're going to need. Here it comes now. Look at that. So beautiful. Except I am going to need some sort of irrigation tank here. Looks like it can hold 60 water. We do have the groundwater pump right here, so that's kind of conveniently located. I think we'll make the game mad at us and redo this piping right here. Of course, I could just rely on rainwater and allow it to drip feed. And for the love of Pete, I can no longer connect to this water port. It looks like it allowed me to do it the first time, but not the second time. I guess it's time to move the groundwater pump. Where can I put this to where it's not going to be a problem? Maybe over here? Terrain too low. Okay, right there. Alright, this looks like a better spot. Yeah, we still have problems with the terrain being level or whatnot, but... Or... I could just put... I should have just put another pump here and been happy with the way it was, but this looks like it's going to be plenty good. Then we shouldn't have any issues with the terrain. Here we go. That's a little bit better. It doesn't look the cleanest because of this little hill here, but that'll be okay. And then I can just tie it in right here. Yeah, that doesn't look ugly at all. Nope, not even a little bit. And I'm doing it over. In fact, I'm going to move this whole system right over here. Deconstruct this one. They're going to get mad at me for a minute. That'll be fine. It's just fresh water, people. But why did they elevate that? That didn't need to be elevated. Okay, last time, I promise, this episode is not all about piping. Oh, it's because of the elevation lift here. I see, but I might be able to squeeze over that point there and connect it. Oh, that is hideous. After entirely too long, we did get the piping set up nice, and you can see our wonderful irrigated farms are doing well, but we also have the carry-on problem of the soil fertility, because potatoes, for instance, take 15.8% fertility along with some water, and then they give you potatoes. Oh, look, it looks so nice. So the amount of potatoes that we're getting back out is not great. We can help this by adding in our new vegetables, and we can also add in some empties to allow for some natural replenishment. So I think we're going to do a combination of both. We're going to allow it to go dormant for a period, then we're going to do vegetables, and then I'm going to try this weird green manure stuff. I don't know what we're doing with it, but we'll take it. And then I should be able to use my little dropper here, copy here, and apply it to this farm. Hopefully we don't run out of food while we allow the farm to replenish. So it looks like we've unlocked all the buildings necessary to create steel, and it starts with an oxygen furnace, which would require molten iron. We know how to get that, and oxygen. Well, we also have access to the air separator, which takes in atmosphere and splits it between oxygen and nitrogen. From there, we need to throw that molten steel into the cooled caster, add some water, and whammo blammo, we have access to steel. So I sort of understand the way we're going to go about it. I'm just not entirely sure I want to do that quite yet. That's going to be a lot of materials and a lot of parts. Just the oxygen furnace by itself is 50 construction parts too. The air separator is another 100. The cooled caster is 30. So maybe we improve our automation system here before we continue any further. We're down to 9 months of food. That can't be good. Well, I guess this is our green manure, whatever that was supposed to be. We're now on potatoes. That's good. I was looking at the irrigation tanks and noticed they're not quite as full as we'd like them at a 60, and it's because the groundwater pump can't keep up. So all this was for naught. What I'm going to do is just add another groundwater pump, separate it from the groundwater pump over here. In fact, I'm just going to make a whole nother groundwater pump over there. That way the trucks can drive through here easier. And now we have 2 groundwater pumps, except that one's built a little cattywampus. It's okay. Don't worry about the cattywampus. It's going to be fine. But please hurry. We're down to 6 months of food. Looks like we got our first crop of veggies coming up in 1 month, which is really good because we're down to 4 months of food. Hopefully it's a lot of veggies. Our irrigation tanks are doing a lot better now that they have their own groundwater pump. 3 months of food. One of the issues I was running into is apparently the food markets can only hold one type of food. So I had to go back to this food market and select vegetables, and hopefully some vegetables are being dropped off. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's much better. 7 months of food. Now this food market holds vegetables, this one holds potatoes. And it looks like we're getting a small bonus for the vegetables because now they have a small variety. I don't know about the health so much, but it does say food variety can help improve health. We've also finished up construction 3, which sounds all great, but I don't think we're at the automation level to be able to build all this stuff yet. So I think we're just going to slow our roll until we improve the throughput of how much we can produce at one clip. As you can see, despite us building and doing a bunch of research, our backstock still looks pretty nice. But our tree excavators have been busy taking out all the trees that were in this area, so now we have a little bit more room. Unfortunately, these rain harvesters are really bugging me out, so I think it might be time to move our copper production all the way over here. I don't love it, but we are really backed up on copper. We do have access to water over here, so instead of using these harvesters, maybe copper over here somewhere, and then iron over here. I don't know. It's better to get working instead of just staring at the problem, and we'll see how it comes out. The first thing I'm going to do is Control C and copy this blueprint, and I think I'll put it right here. There is rhyme and reason behind me doing this, because I want to move this out of the way and have all of our iron stuff coming through here, and perhaps belt the iron going down. Not exactly sure how that's going to come out, but we'll see. Oh, look at our trucks doing such good stuff. Now all I have to do is grab a pipe from here. Whammo blammo. We now have fresh water for copper. And now I can deconstruct all of this. And they will slowly start moving the copper over to that new unit storage that we made. It's taken a little while because they have to remove all the copper ore from the loose storage and then all the finished copper from the unit storage, but it's happening, and this new copper factory is already online doing good things. And I know I'm going to need some of the iron to go into steel productions, so I think that's what this guy's job's going to be. But if this one's going to be dedicated to steel, it means I'm going to need one dedicated to just more throughput on the iron. So hopefully that's lined up nice, and I'm just going to duplicate it right here. And unfortunately, and the island's going to be upset, in order for me to get my full idea down, I have to remove some of these temporarily. So goodbye electronics production for a minute. Oh, I better just rebuild this somewhere temporary. I'll put it right there. Just remember, electronics go into maintenance, and you do not want your maintenance to fall, because then all of a sudden it's bad stuff. So then I'll destroy the electronics. And now we can start spending an entirely absurd amount of money on flat conveyors, which for every 100 tiles requires 28 construction parts 2 and 28 rubber. Now this could be the exact wrong way to do this. I'm YOLOing this because I've never done it before. But we're going to have one line of iron coming out there, one line coming out here, and then they're just going to meet right here on this line and go towards this way. And then we're going to look at all of our construction here. Construction parts require iron and wood and concrete slabs. Well, I know I have concrete slabs over here, and they're not a primary recipe that I am too concerned about. Uh-oh, why aren't we going this way? I guess it's because they don't have any place to go yet. So I suppose what I'm going to do is just copy our construction parts 1. I'll stick them after the joint where the second iron plates are created. That way they have access to as much as possible. And I'm going to separate this probably onto this square here. And then I'm going to take a couple flat connectors. One's going to be there, one's going to be there. And there we go. We have iron directly being inputted. I like that. I do have tree storage over here. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one tree storage right here, one concrete storage right here. This is a little ad hoc-y, but I don't want everything on assembly belts quite yet. And then I will flat conveyor these in, just like this. Okay, it's starting to come around. Duplicate it on the other side. And then I'm going to move the iron belt so it's on the far side so I have more room. And it can be nice and clean without having to jump over stuff. Whew. And there's construction parts 1. So we're going to destroy the old one, and hopefully they move all the stuff into the new one. Now construction parts 2 require construction part 1 and electronics. So let's get our electronics back on. Remember, they take copper and rubber. Our rubber is coming out of here somewhere. Right here's our rubber plant. Need to make sure I set all these unit storages so they at least have 100 goods. That should be good there. I think we're going to do the same thing on the copper side. But I really didn't want them that far apart. So maybe I move copper way over here? It is level. Yeah, I'm going to do it. We're going to move the whole kit and caboodle all the way down here. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. Only a little bit of an eyesore. Why am I the way that I am? I don't know. I would really like to know some days. I just got the message that our people are starving. That's never good. Luckily, just for the interim, we can trade with one of these villages, and I'll get some potatoes for some construction parts. This is definitely the trade of shame. Not proud of this one. maybe I'm giving too much credence to the whole fertility thing. So instead of not harvesting anything for a moment, we'll do vegetables there, potatoes, and then we'll do the green manure. It could be I just need more farms. I'm just not familiar with the ratios quite yet, so we'll see. Although it does give us the message that fertility consumption is increased due to a lack of crop rotation. This is what that is. It even says crop rotation. Let me get rid of the potatoes there, nothing there, and just do a manure there so it's on a 3 cycle instead of a all 4 cycle. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise, we're going to keep trading construction parts for potatoes. Down here, we are ready to start on our electronics production, and we are going to do it the same similar way as we were doing before. I'm just going to come out a little bit. Let's say right here, and I will go this way with the copper. And I really wish these trees were out of the way. So I'm going to go unselect all of these commands. And that way our tree harvesters can concentrate on the trees that I want removed immediately. And I'm sure I will not forget to assign more trees. And we're going to put some electronics in right there. Tie in the conveyor worth of copper. Now rubber is pretty close. I could conveyor that over, but I'm not going to. I will use another nice smart storage bin, something like that. And that's all it takes to make electronics. So then I can start pumping all those electronics into our unit storage here, connect them with a conveyor, and now I can finally get rid of these electronics. While that's getting up to snuff, let's now concentrate on our mechanical parts. We had 2 assembly 2s creating mechanical parts. I don't know if that was necessary, but we're going to keep doing it. And all they take is iron. And all we have to do is put them right here on the assembly line. I'll add them right back here, just the same. Add a couple of conveyor lines. Now it looks like the belt is sort of congested. It is going every other line, which is fine for me because that means this iron factory and this iron factory are sort of taking turns, which allows them to keep their own iron storage sort of full. I'm sure somewhere in the research there are faster belts, but I don't see any problem with the way we're doing this here. Notice I am leaving enough space for trucks to be able to get in and out of these areas, especially to and from all the warehouses. Now we have mechanical parts online, construction parts 1. Electronics are doing a great thing. Oh, our tree people are here. Thank you, tree people. Next up for vehicle parts, they require electronics and mechanical parts. Don't love that. And here again, we have electronics and construction parts 1. So maybe we put the electronics on their own belt, something like that. And so we'll have our construction parts 2 here. Don't know if I'm gonna love this, but it's what we've got so far, okay? And I built a unit storage instead of building the actual assembler. Way to go, hero. As they are building all these things, I am making sure that the trucks are able to get in and out. If ever they can't, I could start adding ramps. But this is what I'm worried about. It's a little spaghetti-ish, but it's going to automate everything so nice for the future. Well, at least that goes the theory. Then our vehicle parts take more electronics and some mechanical parts, so this should be okay. This is where it's going to take some of those ramps, because our electronics are going to come out one side, and I'll split it, say, right here at this conveyor. And then I have electronics coming out here, mechanical parts coming out there, going into our vehicle parts. Oh yeah, this is turning into be just the spaghetti I was afraid of, but it's going to be okay. Looks like our tree excavators need some more work. There you go, tree people. And I suppose I'll add another ramp to get to this side so they have some place to go through. And look at that, the little parts are going right under the ramp. It looks so nice and clean-ish. And our trucks are slowly starting to empty the last 2 unit storages, one for mechanical parts, the other for construction parts. But while this took a little bit of work, it's ultimately going to save us a lot on the transport side. The only thing that's really not automated about this process now is the original dropping off of coal and iron to the smelting plants. The dropping off of wood and concrete, but that's not so shabby. And then the same for the copper side. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, as we sort of prepared for getting steel production online next episode, and I'm thinking we'll start to transition into the larger vehicles as well. I know it looks like a little bit of spaghetti, but as far as bowls of spaghetti go, this one's not too shabby. Looking forward to hearing what you think about this episode in the comments below, so until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.